Welcome to Preval Institute. Now discussing the first order stochastic dominance. So what is the stochastic dominance? Now we can start with the absolute dominance. So absolute dominance. So absolute dominance means we have a two investment. For example, this is investment A, this is investment B. In good time, investment A in a good time, we will get 10 percentage. Investment A will get the 10 percentage return. 10% return. In good time, here you see, you will get the 8 percentage return. Not 8 percentage. You will put a 5 percentage return. In bad time, again, time and investment all the time will not get a equal investment here. So in a bad time, whatever poor time, what will happen? It will get the 8 percentage return. Here is getting 3 percentage return. Now, if you see which investment will choose the investor will choose which investment will choose investment A. Why? In good time we'll get the 10 percentage, bad time also will get the 8 percentage. In good time they are getting only 5 percentage, here only 3 percentage. So investment A always higher return compare with the investment B. So if you say this portfolio, if you ask to one investor, which investment will invest here, then always 100 percentage people will select 100 percentage people will select investment A only. If other terms are equal, other conditions or risk, everything is equal, that time all people will select the investment A. So we can say investment A is absolute dominance. It is a absolute dominance. Any cost in a good time or bad time also, they are higher return, they are giving the higher return for our investment. So is investment A giving always higher return compared with the investment B? But we can't say always it is a absolute dominance case will be less. So we can't say always. So we can some probability will come. For example, here I draw one asset X and asset Z. Now you see, in this case we are saying that probability, there is some probability is there is some probability. Return is getting 7 percentage, return is getting 7 percentage. What is a probability? It is a 0.5. Asset X, here is a 5 percentage, probability is 0.5. Here is the 8 percentage, probability is 0.5. 6 percentage, probability is 0.5. Now you compare both. Here is a 7 percentage is there, here is 6 percentage is there. If you are comparing both, we can't say it is a absolute dominance. We can't say it is absolute dominance. Any this asset Z is not absolute dominance with the asset X, because here is 6 percentage, 0.5% probability is there, here 7 percentage, 0.5% probability is there. So we can't say asset Z is absolute dominance with the asset X. So how to find out which one is dominant? So that we are using the first order stochastic dominance. So using the first order stochastic dominance, we are finding out which one is better investment, which is a better investment, which will get the higher return. So for that purpose, first order stochastic investment, they are saying that one assumption is there, people are interested more returns. So prefer more to less. So we can say that it is a prefer more to less. More to less means people are interested to get a more returns. No sir, not a less return. They always like to get a more return. So that one assumption is there. Then we are saying that a first order stochastic dominance, this is a cumulative probability of X. Cumulative probability of X is less than or equal to cumulative probability of B, S of B. So this is a investment A, this is investment B. And for all X, and second they are saying that F of A X is less than F of B X for at least some value of X. Some value of X. So what is the cumulative probability? Now we can discuss about the, so in first order stochastic dominance is explaining in terms of the cumulative probability. This is f of AX, f of BX, this all called the cumulative probability. So what is the cumulative probability? So for example, so we have a one investment return graph is there. Here it is a 10% return, 11% return, 8% return, 5% return graph is there, 12% return. We are assuming that we required at least 10% return. We are, our expected return is the 10%. Now we are one probability is writing this h is less than or equal to 10. H equal to less than or equal to 10. What is the meaning h is less than or equal to 10? What is the probability to up to reach up to here? 0 to 10% up to, what is the probability to reach the 0 to 10%? That we can call as a probability is less than or equal to 10%. So what is this one? If you are saying that it is a 50%, 50%, the investment A, we can say that investment A, there is a 50% chance is there. Investment A, you can say investment B, not A. Investment A is, B is saying that this one is a 50% chance, probability of yes less than or equal to 10, it is a 50% chance. Or probability of investment A saying that yes is less than or equal to 10, there is a 20% chance is there. So what we can call is a yes is equal to less than or equal to 10. Here it is a 50% chance. 50% chance. This one we can call as a downside risk. We can call as a downside risk. Downside risk, because it is falling down, or we can say it's a falling short or falling down. So 50% chance it is falling down below 10%. That is, we can write as a probability of P of H less than or equal to 10. This term is called the cumulative probability. So this is a f of investment B means it is a H. F of B H, here you are saying that 10% return. We are assuming that 10%. This is what is a percentage of falling down? It is a 50% chance to falling down within the 0 to 10% return. Within the 0 to 10%, what is the chance? 50% chance is there. Here you see, yes is less than or equal to 10. Here is a 0 investment, 0% return. Here is, this is a return graph. It is a return graph. We are getting 0% return, 5% return, 8% return, 10%, 11%. It is going like that. Here there is a chance of 20%. 20% downside risk. Downside risk means it is falling down. 20% chance to from here to here. It is becoming 20% chance. 20% chance to, or 0.2 probability of 0.2. It is becoming falling down below 10% return. So that is a investment A. Then customer, which investment will select? Now you see in this investment, where is a higher risk? Higher risk is here. Investment B has higher risk because 50% chance is a downside risk. 50% chance is a downside risk. This one you can call as f of BH. Here we can call as f of AH. This is a cumulative probability. F of AH is a cumulative probability. Now you see, which one will tell? This cumulative probability is 20% downside risk. 20% chance only it below the this one. Cumulative probability is lesser. Cumulative probability is lesser, less value. 20% chance only below 10%. Below 10% return, there is a 20% chance only. Here you see, this investment 50% chance, it is below 10% return. So which one will select? Customer will select always f of AH. Why? It is a less value, because 20% only downside risk. It is below 10% return, only 20% chance. 20% chance only it is below. So 80% chance, 80% chance where it is in upper side. More than 10% return, there is a 80% chances. 80% chance here it is a more than 10% return will get here in this case. Here you see only 50% chance. 50% here you see 50% chance only. 50% chance to more than 10 percentage return. So customer will select this option only because here is 80% chance will get more than a 10%. So here we are saying that the cumulative probability in the terms of cumulative probability. Now you see f of AX is less value. Less value means cumulative probability below downside risk. F of AX means it's a downside risk is less value. Less value means there is a chance of downside falling down will be less. There is a chance of falling down. Now you see f of A is less than f of bx. What is the meaning? This investment A falling down or downside, going downside below 10% or going downside, that chance is lesser compared with the f of bx. F of AX, what is the meaning? Cumulative probability of f of AX, probability of a chance, probability of falling down or downside, going downside, that probability will be lesser, less value compared with the probability of this investment. This is a higher value of downside risk or falling down or below 10% or below 8% or below 5%, falling downside risk, it will be less value here. Here at least one case, this one should be a less. Investment A should be less compared with the investment B. This falling down or downside risk should be at least one case, some value should be lesser. So that is the cumulative probability. Hope you understood about the cumulative probability. Cumulative probability we can explain once again, we can explain in the graphical mode, then we'll understand. We are drawing graph. Now you see the graph. This is a return. Return is going H is a return. This is a cumulative probability. Cumulative probability. So 0 to maximum 1. So one graph is going to like that, and one graph, one line is going to like that. Cumulative probability reached at least 1. We are saying up to 1 only. So here you see, this we can write like that. So now here you see, this is f of AX, this is f of AX, this is f of BX. Now you see cumulative probability. Here starting itself, cumulative probability in the sense it is a downside risk. Downside risk means or falling down. What our expected return? Our expected return is falling down. Here you see our expected return is here 10%. Here it is expected return is 10%. Now you see what is the downside risk? Higher. Downside risk, you see, downside risk probability will be higher, or cumulative probability is higher. Not a here is a cumulative probability is approximately 0.8 is higher. Here is a cumulative probability 0.5. So we can say that there is a, if you are saying that the probability, this one cumulative probability, here it is a higher value. Higher value means downside risk is higher. More, there is a more chance to going down. Return below 10%. Below 10%, there is a more chance for f of bx. F of as will be a lesser chance. Lesser chance only because it is a cumulative probability is less value. So this comparing to f of a and f of b, this cumulative probability here is a lesser value means going to downside, it is a less. So it is a b. You see, b we can say it is a worst performance. We can say investment B is a worst performance because cumulative probability is higher or downside risk is higher. Downside risk is higher. It is falling down. It is a higher probability of falling down because cumulative probability we are calculating P of S is less than or equal to L. This is a cumulative probability is below. It is investment return. Here it is a 10% means a 10% below the 10% return. That one is a cumulative probability. F of AS or F of BS. So below 10, this is higher. Here F of BS, for that it is higher. That means it is a worst performance. Yeah, that investment B is a worst performance. It is downside risk is high or falling down, falling short will be a higher probability to going down. So this is comparing both will understand this cumulative probability is higher compared with this cumulative probability. So first order dominance is saying that if you are taking the cumulative probability, this is A investment cumulative probability or downside risk or falling short or worst performance should be less value, then f of b it is higher value. Here you see, then what we can say, it is A is dominant than dominant to B. Compared to B, A is dominant. A will be dominant. Compare this both, which is a dominant, this one is dominant. Here is in the first order dominant. Here see, this is A investment, A is dominant. Here is the cumulative probability is lesser. So A is dominant. He is good to invest in A only because downside risk is lesser. Below the 10%, here is a very less chance. Here is a higher chance to falling down. There is a higher chance. Here is a lesser chance, dominant. So that you can say that this is A investment. A investment is dominant in first order dominant to B investment. It is a first order dominant. So two conditions. Customer is prefer more to less. F of AS is less than or equal to F of BS. F of AS is less than F of BS. Some value. We can take that example. Hope you understood about the first order dominance conditions. It is a cumulative probability. We are doing in cumulative probability and saying that which one is good. So cumulative probability in the sense of it is a downside risk. It will be lesser means what is the meaning? That investment will be good. Here is a downside risk is lesser means that investment will be good. So A is dominant than the B. Here is asset X and asset Z is there. Which one is good? You have to check which one is good. So we can draw the one table, asset return. Here it is a return and asset X, asset Z. So to return we drawn. Return is 5% return is there. 5%, we are in order we are writing. 6% return is there, 7% return is there, 8% return is there. Asset X, 5% return means asset X, it is a probability is 1/2. Here is asset S. Here we are writing about the cumulative probability. It is 0. There is no asset X. 5% return is not there. It is 0. A 6% return. Asset X it is not there. 6% return. So cumulative means we have to add it. So here it is 1/2 only. There is no addition. 6% return. Here it is 1/2. Here it is 1/2. 7% return. Here is 1/2 is there. So cumulative probability means from here we have to add it. 1/2 plus 1/2. So we can write it is a 1. Already 1/2 is there and here 1/2 is there. So it is added. So it is becoming 1. So it is become 1. And here you see 7% return is not there. So it is a 1/2 only. Same I written here. 8% return. Here it is not there. 8% return asset it is not there. So same I written here. Here it is 1/2 is there. 8% return. So it is added with here. So 1/2 plus 1/2 equal to 1. Now in first order dominance, which is the, how to say first order dominance, which one is the dominant, asset X or asset Z? You see asset X or asset Z, here it is this value is higher, here is a lesser. This value is equal also no issue. Here it is higher, this value is higher. So f of b asset X is higher, here it is equal. So in case of cumulative probability, in case of 5% cumulative probability of X, yes, in 5% we can say that it is a S is higher, or in Z we can say Z is, we can say lesser than f of X and 5% return. 5% return cumulative probability, 5% return, you see asset X was 1/2. Asset X is 1/2. Asset X is 1/2 and here it is a 1/2, here it is 0. So this one is lesser in case of 5%. Same way in case of f of Z, in Z 7% return, it is also less. F of S 7% return. In the same case, you see, here it is a 1, here it is a half. So z only half only. Here it is 1 is z. So here you see, compared to the here, we can say that f of z, f of zx, zx, f of zx, we can say that is less than or equal to f of z. We can write the returns in L, or we can write in the X or something. It is X. It is an at X equal to 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%. Now comparing to the first condition, so for AX, here it is in Z instead of 2 investment. Here is X and Z. So here we are comparing with the X and Z. Here Z is lesser, cumulative probability is lesser. And also we can write f of zx is less than f of hx in case of 5 and 7. In case of 5 and 7, you see, in 5% return, f of zx is lesser value, here is 0. In 7% return, f of zx is less value, 1 by 2 only. So cumulative probability in first order dominance, we can say that z is dominant, z is dominant. In first order dominant, z is dominant than the x. In first order dominant, z is dominant. Hope you understood about this problem. It is very easy to understand. Asset X and asset B, 7% return, 5% return, probability 1 by 2, 1 by 2, 8% return, 6%, 1 by 2, 1 by 2. So we return the cumulative probability. Here is a 5% return, 1 by 2, and 6% return is not there. So cumulative probability means we are adding here, so it is a 1 by 2 only. Here is 7% return, 1 by 2 is there, so it is becoming 1. Here is 1. Same way return here, 5% return is not there, 0, and 6% return is there, 1 by 2, and 7% return it is not there here, so it is 1 by 2, and it is added 8% return is there, so 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is 1. So cumulative probability return the cumulative probability. Here also return the cumulative probability, here also return the cumulative probability means we have to add it. We have to add the all the probability. 5% 1 by 2. Here is 7% 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is there. Another 1 by 2. We return 7%. And you compared. So f of z 5% return is 0, but here is 1 by 2. So f of z is lesser value, less value. So downside risk for asset z is less value in case of 5% return. In case of 5% return, there is no option is there, because it is start with 6% only. So in case of 5% return, f of z, there is no option. There is no downside risk. Here 0 risk. In z, in downside of 5%, there is no option. So here it is a 0 probability. Cumulative probability 0. So it is start with at least a 6% return. And you see, in case of 7 also there is a probability is lesser. 7 f of z is only half only. This cumulative probability. Here it is a 1 is there. So this is f of z is lesser value in case of 7% return. So in both comparison, we can say that first order also for all x we can write like that, and at least some value of x, we can write like that. In 5 and 7, it is lesser only. F of z is lesser in return of 5 and return of 7. So based on this condition, we say that z is dominant, z is good investment. We can say that z is good investment, dominant. This is dominant. Z is investment. More people will invest in Z only. Because of this comparison, first order dominance, we can say that we can invest more in asset Z compared with the asset X. Asset S is getting the lesser return, and asset Z is getting the more return. So it is dominant, stochastically dominant. That means some probability calculation, it will be a dominant. Sometime what will happen? We will get only 6% return here. Here we will get more 7% return. So this and all will happen, but in probability or stochastic analyzation, asset Z is dominant. Okay, hope you understood about the first order stochastic dominant. Thank you.